Well, good morning, friends. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Today what I'm getting around to is working on some dried flower pumpkins for my flower stand. I'm going to be selling dahlia bunches this weekend, and I thought it'd be really nice to have some grab-and-go mini pumpkins that people can purchase as well. So I made a few last night, and I want to make, I think, maybe about 8 more for the stand. So I think the plan for today is to try to finish up these mini pumpkins, hopefully by about 10:30. I want to give myself about 45 minutes to an hour and see how long these are really taking me to create, to see if $10 is enough. But the pumpkins themselves only cost me 50 cents each, so that was great. And then me and my daughter are going to meet some friends at a corn maze in the middle portion of the day. And then I want to come back later on today and plant some new shrubs with beautiful berries. I can't wait to show you. And I can't wait to show you this new view that my husband just uncovered when we cleaned out the garage. So I'll show you that later tonight. But for now, let's go inside and get to work. I need another cup of coffee, maybe one more boiled egg, and we can enjoy some fall florals together. So let me show you the 4 that I made last night. I only had 4 pumpkins last night, or I probably would have just kept going. It was so much fun. I had my Spotify on fall jazz, which I don't know what the difference is between fall jazz and any other jazz, but it's just so much fun listening to jazz and making these dried flower pumpkins. Let me see, I have to put it in front of my face so it'll focus. Isn't that so darling? And the great thing is, I think Gracie wants to say hi. Here she comes with her toy. The great thing is that this takes almost no dried flowers at all. So even if you have just a handful of dried flowers, I think you could easily create one of these pumpkins. And they're just so darling. Let me show you them up close. Most of them I only put on 3 straw flower, a little bit of larkspur. I have some feverfew here, some celosia, a little bit of yarrow, and a little bit of astilbe. So I have some white ones that are going to be pinks. And then I always struggle with bright colors, so we'll just see what we come up with in terms of the orange pumpkins. But wouldn't these be so cute with little name cards sticking out of them at a Thanksgiving table? I don't know. I'm so happy with how they turned out. I'm so used to making really big ones that it's nice to make these tiny ones. So I'm going to go ahead and try to time myself here. It's going to be a little bit unrealistic since I'm filming, but I'm thinking if I can get about 8 done in 30 minutes, that will be awesome in terms of $10 per pumpkin. I have found from making the larger pumpkins that more is more when it comes to this dried moss. It just really helps the dried flowers stick, and it's a lot easier to have a lot of moss at the start than to try to have to add some later on in the process. And what would we do without our glue guns? How did they do it before glue guns? Can you imagine holding everything with tacky glue in place anymore? I've been trying to make all these relatively similar, just in case someone wants to buy maybe all 6. Maybe they want to use them as name cards. Maybe that's wishful thinking that someone would buy all 6. But that's why I'm trying to make them pretty similar, just in case people want to buy more than one. And I've been finding that this pink astilbe is just so beautiful on these. This is the same exact astilbe. Here I picked it pink and it dried just beautifully into a perfect light pink color. And here's what it looks like outside right now. I thought maybe I'd use the current state of astilbe on the orange ones, and hopefully that will be nice. I don't grow as many bright flowers, so hopefully we have enough to make those work. And it'll be really interesting to see what people prefer. Do they prefer the pinks or do they prefer the bright colors? And what I've been doing is 3 stems of this celosia. And now for this larkspur, I'm just removing the individual florets, and that seemed to be working pretty good last night. Amazing color on imperial blue larkspur when it's dried. It just looks like little purple confetti added onto the pumpkin. So beautiful. And I like to work in odd numbers whenever possible. Something my grandma always told me is that odd numbers are more pleasing to the eye. I can't remember why that is, but I always follow her advice when it comes to that. That way too, a piece never looks like it's looking at you. If you have 2 or 4 or 6, sometimes it can create this eye effect. I guess sometimes you might like that. If you want something a little more spooky, maybe you want your floral staring at you. So let's come in with a little gomphrena now. So I certainly could add more to this. I have some feverfew here that we could add in. I have some saponaria we could add in. Saponaria, the seed pods dry so well. If you pick them green, what I found is they're just lasting great. They're not shedding, they're not opening up and shedding the seed. So another great reason to grow saponaria. But I think I'm going to stop here. I did make a couple, if you can see here, that have the feverfew, but I'm just not sure that feverfew is gonna appeal to everyone. Maybe just kind of a more classic and clean look would be best. I guess we'll find out. This is definitely gonna be a learning experience to see what sells and what doesn't sell. Hopefully we just sell something. But here's a look at the white and pink ones. And now let's just go ahead and get to it. I think I'm gonna do this assembly line style with the orange ones, and we'll see how they all turn out. Well, I got them all done. I think it took about 45 to 50 minutes to make the additional 7 that I made today. I had made 4 last night. So I don't think that's too bad, about 45 minutes for 7. And I was also moving the camera around a little bit. But let me show you these up close because I think they turned out so darling. I really hope people like them. I hope at least some of them will sell. But you know, if not, it'll be a learning experience, and then I can give some away to friends and keep some for myself this Thanksgiving. And I'm just really interested to know what will sell better. The white pumpkins with kind of the pink and purple florals, or will the orange pumpkins with the more bright florals be the ones that really attract people's attention? It'll be really interesting to find out. So here's a look at the orange one. I pretty much used the same flowers, except I brought in some yellows and some more red celosia into these. And then I also added in a few little pine cones that I found around. I think I had those from some amaryllis arrangements that I made. So a lot of repurposing of old materials. And I don't know, these are so beautiful, but I guess, you know, your decor in your home has to kind of match these pinks and purples, but these are really speaking to me personally. I'd love to know what your favorites are and which one you might consider buying. That would really help me out in the future. And if you have any ideas for how I could display these at the stand, that would be so helpful. Thank you so much for any suggestions. I'm thinking maybe some kind of a tiered display would be good. Maybe I could try to have some coming out of a bucket. Maybe that would be nice. And the thing is, the flower stand is going to be a little bit different this weekend because this Wednesday I'm going up to Penn State to do some volunteer work. We're harvesting the pumpkin trials, and what usually happens is that they let us take a lot of pumpkins home with us that they don't need for the trial results. So there's a good chance I'll have these floral pumpkins at the stand, a lot of really cool just regular pumpkins for sale. I think I'm also going to sell some dried hydrangeas. Some years that works really well, and some years it does not work at all and no one buys them. And then we're also going to have just straight dahlia bunches at the stand. So it's going to be a really full table. So I definitely need to think about some tiers, maybe some spilling baskets. Nothing too elaborate, but just something so as people are driving by so quickly, they can kind of see what I have to offer that day. So friends, with those done, it looks like it's time for me to get ready to meet my girlfriend. So I'll see you guys back in the garden this afternoon. So my intent was to get a white snowberry because I don't have any of those, but I didn't see any at my girlfriend's nursery. But what caught my eye was this little goblin winterberry. I have 2 of these on the property and they're just such wonderful berry producers. And it's just nice to have kind of that orange red color to work with in the winter. So that's the first one. And we're gonna place it in that hole that you see there behind my flower lady. There's some yellow loosestrife back there that was on the property when we moved in, but I think it will be nice to surround her with winterberries than just have that one next to her. Now I know there's some praying mantis hanging out over here in this area because I grabbed some weeds that I saw this morning and I ended up picking up a praying mantis in my bare hands. So I think we'll work carefully and maybe I'll put my seeing glasses on so that I can see them as we're working. So that's the first shrub. And then the second one I'd like to add in is this proudberry coralberry, which gets beautiful pink berries. And I love the foliage. It reminds me a lot of eucalyptus. And I have one of these already and I'd like to just repeat it as often as possible in the garden. So I think I'll place it here kind of near the edge of the hydrangea room. There are a few boxwoods in this area, 2 inkberries for winter interest, and I'd really just like to keep it green, pink, and white over here, whether that be hydrangeas, crepe myrtle, or the berry production that I'm working with. I'm just thinking it'd be nice to keep the hydrangea room just kind of pinks, purples, and whites. And guys, here's an update on how the cup and saucer are doing. Now most of them I cut for this morning's arrangement, but you can see a few more coming on now. Well, I got the winterberry in, and while I was back there, I discovered that I have a very serious problem with bindweed going on in this bed. I have seen bindweed started to creep into this bed. It might have been 2 or 3 years ago. I noticed just a really small amount. This year, I'm noticing a really big problem over here, so I'm gonna have to just be a lot more diligent trying to pull it up. I'll show you how that looks this evening when everything's in a little bit better lighting. But for now, let's go ahead and get this coralberry planted into the ground. I'm really, really excited to have more berries in the garden. I just love berries so much. If you have a favorite berry plant, I'd love to hear all about it. I have one brandywine viburnum over in the driveway garden that I've been cutting on so hard every year that I've had it. I think I've only had it 2 years, but I think I need to add in some more of those into the garden, but I'm just not exactly sure where to put them yet. Shrubs all planted, and I'm standing here in my garage looking through the window that my husband just uncovered the other day. Our home when we purchased it was listed as a handyman special, and so there are some areas that we haven't even gotten around to fixing up yet. This window and the garage in particular has been kind of a landing ground for all the construction work that we've done over the years, but we started to fix it up, and I'm just so thankful for this beautiful view out our garage window. And let me show you the view out the other garage window. This view kind of looks out onto the hydrangea room. You can't see too much, but you can see the Haas Halo hydrangea there. And then if we swing around through this window, you see Invincible Spirit, which is green now. But it's just kind of nice to look through different views. And you know what? Even though this house was falling down when we purchased it, I am just so thankful for it. Well, friends, I think I'm going to wrap up today's video here. As always, I want to send my sincere thanks for spending some time out here in the garden and in my home with me today. Let me know if you get into any floral pumpkin work in the weeks to come. I'd love to see what you create. I want to wish you a wonderful day, and of course, as always, happy gardening. Bye!